Stop everything you're doing and pay close attention. What you are about to discover in the next 5 minutes will fundamentally alter the way you perceive your own desires. This isn't about some mystical law of attraction. This is a scientific mental framework that engages your brain's creative mode. And I am going to prove it to you. Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to have a kind of Midas touch? Everything they engage with turns into an opportunity, into growth, into prosperity. Meanwhile, others, despite their most strenuous efforts, seem to be walking in circles, perpetually stuck with the same old problems. This difference isn't due to luck, nor is it about secret talents one is born with. The difference lies in something few dare to explore: the creative power of the mind. Imagine that inside your head, there is an unseen workshop. This workshop receives instructions every second, instructions that you yourself provide, whether consciously or unconsciously. Every thought you entertain, every mental image you hold, every emotion you repeat daily acts as a work order sent to this workshop. The problem is, most of the time, you're submitting orders for things you don't actually want. You are unknowingly asking for more hardship, more limitations, more fear, and the workshop simply manufactures what you have commanded. This is precisely where the secret that Emmet Fox revealed nearly a century ago comes into play, a secret that remains hidden from the majority. He asserted that the human mind is not merely a repository for random thoughts. It is a real creative force, as tangible as gravity. You cannot see gravity, but you know it exists because it keeps your feet firmly on the ground. In the same way, you don't see your mind producing events, but every experience in your life is proof that it is, at all times, creating your reality. Now, let me ask you, what if you could consciously access this creative protocol? What if there were a practical, clear, and scientifically validated method to give new instructions to your mind? Instructions capable of opening doors, attracting the right people, and aligning situations that once seemed impossible. Would it be an exaggeration to say this could transform absolutely everything? I assure you, it would not. In fact, what you will hear by the end of this video is something most people have never encountered, and the final revelation will be the most powerful of all, as it unites science, spirituality, and practice into a single code. As you follow this journey, you might feel a sense of discomfort. This is natural. I am going to touch on the very reasons why you haven't yet achieved what you so deeply desire. I will show you that often, it's not life that is against you, but you yourself, sending the wrong orders to your creative mind. The initial shock may be jarring, but what follows is clarity, and that clarity is worth more than any superficial technique. Consider how, throughout your life, you were conditioned to believe in limitations. You were told to be content with less, not to want too much, that complete happiness was a fantasy. These phrases were repeated so often that you unconsciously programmed your mind to accept them as truth. But what if all of this were just an illusion? A kind of collective hypnosis that keeps most people trapped in a cycle of scarcity. What would happen if, starting today, you broke that pattern and began sending new commands to your creative mind? I will guide you on this path, but it is crucial that you remain present, allowing every word here to find its place within you. We are not talking about some distant theory. We are talking about immediate reprogramming, about activating a power that is already there, inside you, waiting to be awakened. And before we continue, I need to tell you something important. If you genuinely wish to take the next step and access even deeper content that will expand your consciousness and accelerate your manifestation, I have prepared exclusive material for this very purpose. You can find the link in the first pinned comment of this video. This isn't just any content. It's an invitation to dive into something that goes far beyond what we will discuss here. Click it after you finish this video because it could be the turning point you've been waiting for. But for now, return your focus to what is before you. As we proceed, each part of this revelation will fit together like pieces of a puzzle, until, by the end, You will hold in your hands the most powerful key you have ever known. A key that not only opens doors but completely transforms how you see the world and, more importantly, how the world responds to you. So take a deep breath, release your tensions, and allow yourself to move forward. Because what comes next may be the very thing that was missing for your life to take the leap you always knew, deep down, was possible. What you must grasp now is that the mind is not just a collection of thoughts that come and go. It is like a fertile field, and whatever you plant in it will eventually grow. But there is a silent trap that ensnares most people. They fail to realize they are cultivating seeds of scarcity, fear, and doubt every single day. Every recurring worry in your mind is like a drop of poison on this soil. Each time you imagine the worst-case scenario, your creative mind interprets it as a command and begins to move circumstances to make your fears a reality. Emmet Fox said that, "To think is to create." A simple phrase, yet filled with power. To think is to create. This means the mind is not just an observer of reality, but the very brush that paints the canvas of your life. Have you noticed how a single idea can change the course of everything? Sometimes you find yourself believing something won't work out, and it seems as if every obstacle in the world appears. Conversely, when you deeply believe something will happen, doors begin to open in ways you couldn't have imagined. This is not a mystical coincidence. It is a direct reflection of the creative protocol within you. Modern science has now confirmed that the brain does not distinguish between something you vividly imagine and something you experience in physical reality. When you visualize a desired outcome with emotion, your brain activates the same neural circuits that would be engaged if it were actually happening. It's as if you can rehearse the future before it exists. This activates an invisible but real force that begins to align opportunities, encounters, and even thoughts that lead you to make different decisions, to choose paths you previously didn't even notice. The most incredible part is that while many still dismiss this as mere coincidence, those who consciously test and apply this principle know that it works. It's not about closing your eyes and hoping for something to fall from the sky, but about using the mind as the creative tool that it is. It's as if you hold an antenna capable of tuning into different frequencies. If you tune into fear, you attract experiences that validate that fear. If you tune into confidence and abundance, your reality begins to respond in kind. But why then do so many people fail to change their lives, even if they know about the law of attraction? The answer lies in the depth at which you program your mind. It's useless to repeat positive affirmations superficially if, deep down, you still believe in limitation. It's like trying to plant flowers in poisoned soil. First, you must clear out the old roots, removing the weight of negative beliefs that were imposed on you from a young age. You likely grew up hearing phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Life is hard," or "You have to work your fingers to the bone to get anything." These phrases, repeated by those close to you, became commands etched into your creative mind. That's why often, even when you try to think positively, something inside you whispers, "This isn't going to work." This internal conflict is what keeps so many people stuck in the same place. The good news is that this cycle can be broken, and this is precisely where the awakening begins. When you recognize that these limiting thoughts are not absolute truths but merely programs installed within you, a space opens up. It's as if you suddenly see a crack in a wall that seemed insurmountable, and through that crack, the light begins to shine. From this moment, the work is to reprogram. How? First, by bringing awareness to what you truly desire, not what you fear. Most people spend their entire day telling themselves what they don't want. I don't want debt. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to fail. But the creative mind doesn't process negation. When you say, "I don't want debt," the mental image that forms is precisely that of debt. And that is what your internal workshop begins to produce. Therefore, the key is to redirect your focus. It's not about denying problems, but about consciously deciding where you will send your creative energy. If you start to imagine abundance, freedom, and tranquility, and you hold fast to that vision with emotion, you are, in practice, sending new commands to your brain. And the brain, like an incredible machine, begins to work to turn that into reality. Perhaps you're wondering, but how do I maintain this focus when the circumstances around me scream the opposite? How can I imagine prosperity when I'm drowning in bills? How can I believe in love when I've been rejected so many times? This is the struggle everyone faces, and this is precisely the test of your creative power, because you don't shape your reality when everything is going well. You shape it when everything seems to be falling apart, and you must decide whether to surrender to the chaos or to plant a new vision within your mind. Emmet Fox stated that thought is more powerful than any circumstance. This may be hard to accept, but think about it. Every circumstance began at some point with an idea, a decision, a thought. The world around you is nothing more than the materialization of cultivated thoughts. Therefore, if you want to change your life, you must change what you are cultivating within yourself. There's a secret that few realize. You don't need to immediately believe in everything you desire. You just need to start rehearsing that belief. It's like training a muscle. At first, it might feel strange, almost forced, but as you repeat it with emotion, your mind begins to accept that new image as truth. And when that happens, you create an internal state that naturally attracts what is aligned with that vision. Now, let me lead you to a reflection. Have you ever wondered why certain past memories still hurt so much? Why, even after years, you still feel that pang of pain when you remember a loss, a rejection, a failure? It's because the emotion recorded in that moment became embedded in your creative field, and unconsciously, you continue to recreate experiences that resonate with that pain. But here is the powerful revelation. Just as you once gave life to these memories, you can also reprogram them. When you revisit a memory and begin to see it from a different perspective, you alter the emotional charge it carries. This means the emotional prison can be broken. It's like rewriting a chapter of your life's book, not to deny what happened, but to reframe it. By doing this, you free up space within your mind for new experiences. And it is at this point that practice becomes essential, because the mind, left to its own devices, will always seek to repeat what it already knows. It is up to you to take conscious control. Instead of letting your mind wander into worry, you guide it, like someone holding the reins of a wild horse. It may seem difficult at first, but you will soon realize you have more strength than you imagined. This is why I want you not just to listen to these words, but to put them into practice. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine the life you desire. Not just in cold images, but with all the sensory details. Imagine what it would be like to wake up in that scenario, what the first words you would say would be, who the people around you would be, how your body would feel. The more real this experience is for your mind, the faster you will be activating your creative power. And remember, this process isn't about pretending. It's about training your brain to recognize new possibilities. It's like clearing a new path in a forest. At first, it's covered with branches and seems impassable. But with every step you take, the path becomes clearer, until one day, it is wide open. Throughout this video, I promised that the final revelation would be the most powerful. And I want you to prepare, because we are approaching it. What I am about to show you at the end will unite everything we have discussed so far into a central point, something that can forever redefine how you see your life and your desires. Until then, stay with me. Every word from here on out is an indispensable piece of this puzzle, because what you are about to discover is not just a theory, but an invitation to take control, once and for all, of your creative power. We have now reached the most crucial point of this entire journey. All this time, you have been led to reflect on how your mind functions as a creative field, how your beliefs shape your reality, and how it is possible to reprogram every aspect of your life. But the most powerful revelation, the one that ties everything together, is this. You do not need to wait for anything external to begin transforming your reality. The power is not in the circumstances, it is not in chance, it is not in the people around you. The power is right now, in this very instant, inside of you. This may be the most liberating and, at the same time, the most challenging truth. Because to accept that everything comes from within is also to accept the responsibility to stop blaming the world, other people, or even luck for the life you have. It is to understand that every thought you repeat, every image you sustain, is a brick laid in the construction of your destiny. This might hurt at first, because it means looking back and realizing that many of the pains you experienced were born from seeds that you yourself planted. But at the same time, it is the greatest gift you could receive, because if you were the one who created the past, you are also the one who can create the future. Emmet Fox used to say that what you hold firmly in your mind is what will inevitably manifest. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Your mind is like a powerful magnet, attracting experiences that match the frequency you emit. And the final revelation you needed to hear is this. The most powerful frequency, capable of reprogramming absolutely any pain, limitation, or blockage, is that of conscious imagination fueled by true emotion. It is not enough just to think. It is not enough just to repeat words. You must feel it. When you can feel as if you are already living what you desire, the entire universe bows to that creative command. It's as if you set in motion an invisible force that begins to organize situations, people, and events to align with that vibration. This is not an illusion, not empty mysticism. It is a mental protocol that activates specific areas of the brain, causing your body and your energy to behave as if the future were already happening now. And when that occurs, reality has no choice but to conform. Notice how this changes everything. Until now, you may have believed that you had to fight against the world to achieve something, that you needed to prove your worth, that you had to sacrifice beyond measure. But the real battle was never external. The real battle has always been within, in the realm of the thoughts and emotions you allowed to grow. It is within that you decide whether you will repeat the pattern of scarcity or initiate the cycle of abundance. It is within that you choose whether to remain a prisoner of painful memories or to break free from them to make space for something greater. And here is the synthesis that concludes this entire teaching. You create what you feed most with emotion. If you feed fear, you create more fear. If you feed confidence, you create more confidence. If you feed love, you create more love. And this is precisely why the final revelation is so powerful. Because it shows that you don't need anything external to begin. You can close your eyes right now and begin to truly feel the life you desire. And this simple act, this seemingly small exercise, is what sets the most magnificent transformation in motion. I know that hearing all of this, you may feel a mix of hope and doubt. Part of you knows these words resonate with truth, but another part might ask, will it really work for me? And the answer is, yes, it will work, but only if you allow it. Because the mind does not distinguish who is more deserving or less deserving. It simply responds to the commands it receives. If you decide, with all your heart, that it is time to write a new story, your creative mind will begin to move everything to make it a reality. And I want you to carry this image with you. Each day, you stand before a blank canvas. You can continue to paint the same old scenes with the same dark colors of doubt, or you can choose new colors, more vibrant, more luminous, that represent abundance, joy, and freedom. That choice, as simple as it may seem, is the key. Because when you change the internal painting, the external picture inevitably transforms. Therefore, do not let this message become just another piece of content you heard and forgot. Make a decision right now. Decide that you will practice, that you will imagine, that you will feel. Decide that you will stop feeding thoughts that destroy you and start cultivating visions that uplift you. This decision is the dividing line between repeating the life you've always had and creating the life you've always dreamed of. And if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you recognizes that you are ready for this leap. So, allow yourself to go further. Remember that in the first pinned comment, there is a special path prepared for those who wish to deepen this journey, to dive even further into this process of conscious manifestation. This could be the step that connects everything you've learned now with an even more transformative practice. But above all, hold on to this certainty. You already have within you the creative power necessary to attract everything you desire. You don't need to wait. You don't need to ask for permission. You don't need someone to grant it to you. This power is yours by right. It was placed within you from the very first moment of your existence. Now all you have to do is use it. And if this video made sense to you, if it touched a deep chord, if it brought you clarity or hope, I ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This simple gesture is what keeps this message alive. It's what allows me to continue bringing content that transforms lives. Furthermore, by subscribing, you ensure that you will receive each new revelation that could be the exact piece that was missing in your manifestation process. So, take a deep breath. Feel the strength awakening within you. And remember, the creative power of your mind is not a distant dream. It is active right now, in this moment. And the life you desire is just waiting for you to choose, with all your heart, to begin creating it.